Welcome back. It's a new day, everyone. Touring Western Erebonia, number 4, 5 days to Operation Jormungand. I like that it tells me that now. I wonder what the pole on the back is for. On the deck. Some kind of stabilization, maybe? Hell of a gun, though. Look at that. That bit there. It's sort of like the tail. I'm not entirely sure. I'd like to know. Hopefully they bring it up. You never know. It's Falcom. They might bring it up. Imagine if the room wasn't tall enough for the sword. You're like, oh, we're gonna have to just lay this on the ground. Oh well. It's quite spacious, isn't it? Shiny stars. I don't see Woo Baby anywhere. Why'd you need that much room, though? Like, why? It's got a hot spring? Or a bath? A bath? Now, why do you need that much space?
Despite being a new model of ship, the system you see here largely emulates that of the previous Courageous.
Only imagine it twice as large in space.
Our operations manual only covers the bare minimum. Should you find anything lacking, you'll have to figure it out as you go.
Understood. I'll make sure to pass it on to everyone else.
In total, it spans a length of 92 arch, a considerable step up from the previous 74 arch class.
Yet somehow it's so much more roomy.
However, because the ship is so much bigger, you'll need to carefully watch the speed and engine output.
Ha! So she's a wild one, eh? Sounds to me like this girl's gonna need a bit more taming than the last one.
This terminal should give you complete command over all the ship's facilities and fire control systems.
Peyton!
It comes equipped with anti-hacking measures, specially developed by Professors Albert and Erica Russell themselves.
You mean Mom and Grandpa made it? We should have no problems then.
Incredible. Every inch of equipment on this ship is state-of-the-art.
And that computer's one of the Epstein Foundation's next-generation models. Weren't they only just developed?
Could it be?
That's right. And its hull has the latest innovations in hydrodynamic engineering, courtesy of the Ruhr Institute of Technology.
I imagine that's relating to the pole thing at the back that I was talking about as well.
Plus, it seems to be outfitted with ZCF's newest next-gen orbital engine, too.
Said.
It only gets more and more unbelievable every time I hear it. Just how did you manage to construct a cutting-edge ship like this abroad in total secrecy, without anyone finding out?
As I stated earlier, there are a great deal of individuals who helped me make this happen.
Who? I want to know. I'm just curious. Just tell me.
Such as Mr. Gwyn here, for instance.
Oh.
The story here goes all the way back to right after the Civil War.
I was out on the lake just doing a bit of fishing. No.
Considering the way it ended, His Highness decided to approach me for some advice. He had me prepare this ship for him, all in anticipation of the day when the Crimson Wings would be torn from the sky.
So that's why.
Huh. I do remember His Highness mentioning something about you being his advisor.
Still, for some reason, I've lost my voice. But the construction site, to be located on the Kingdom of LeBeau, it's Valeria Lakeshore. Where? Where would you put it? And on top of an old Ouroboros secret base to boot. That makes sense. Talk about a plot twist. Alright, I know. You're referring to the research facility that the Faceless constructed during the incident in LeBeau. So, aha! That's cool. Heard that after the dust settled, it was handed over to ZCF to manage. It does seem like Grandpa and the others used it for some kind of research. Not just Gwyn and Professor Schmidt pitched in, but Professor Russell and Her Majesty Alicia too. Whereas Cassius and the Crown Princess were none the wiser. If you want to fool your enemies, you gotta fool your friends first, huh? Classic. As for funding, in addition to His Highness's Olivert, Gwyn and His Majesty Eugent, well, so wordy, also contributed from their personal holdings, but perhaps the most unexpected benefactors were Father and Marquis Rogner. Indeed, quite a cunning play by those two. I imagine that keeping this from the Albareas was all in the name of avoiding the eye of the Intelligence Division? Yes, the same with the Cayennes, I'm sure. And so your new set of wings were completed, independently of both the government and the Viceland army. When I said we were preparing for our original wings to be torn away, I only expected they'd be commandeered by the government. To be perfectly frank, thought that they would be physically torn apart never even crossed my mind. This isn't a laughing matter for the record. Indeed, just being alive is reason enough to give thanks to Adios, even at the cost of a left eye. Your Highness, I hate to ask, but what's the prognosis? A full recovery doesn't seem to be in the cards, unfortunately. But as a musician, I'm just grateful that my hands and ears made it through in one piece. I suppose I have them to thank for that, eh? Owe your life to George's inner turmoil and the whims of that phantom thief, huh? You have an unbreakable spirit, Your Highness. Don't sell yourself short. Are we gonna have a flashback? Good.
This is...
I underestimated them. Shara, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Ein. Looks like I messed up.
Goddess, please protect my daughter.
You have 15 seconds until the hull collapses. So before then, I will offer you one final wager. A gravitational barrier will appear on the bridge for exactly 24 seconds. Let's see if you can come back from this.
Adios, help us! You gotta stay calm.
Get down and brace for impact!
Over there!
Damn! The gravitational barrier!
It's not gonna hold.
Don't give up just yet!
And that's how he lost his arm. Got it?
Was I a moment too late? Nay, surely a flicker of hope yet remains. Can you still be plucked from the jaws of Gehenna? Show me just how far that luck of yours will take you, my dearest rival.
But why? Yeah, it's like, still can't believe that our friend, the Phantom Thief, saved you all from that wreckage. Guess his parlor tricks are good for something, if that's what he used to spirit everyone away in one piece. No wonder they couldn't find so much as a single body. On top of that, he healed His Highness the crew, and even the Viscount's grave wounds, didn't he? That's right. I was injured too, but somehow I made it out relatively unscathed. When the Viscount jumped in to block the hole in the barrier, couldn't even use my arts to help him. I felt so worthless in my entire life. Sorry, Laura. I dropped the ball when it mattered most. Like I've told you, Toval, you have nothing to apologize for. I'm just relieved you made it out alive. I'm sure Father shares my sentiment. Well, if you say so. I admit, I thought Viscount Arsaid more or less invincible. I was stunned speechless to see him in that state. But for him, losing his left arm means he'll just swing twice as hard with his right. Power is but an extension of oneself. What is a sword if not power wrought in steel? But ultimately, it's not the might of one's blade, but will and strength of spirit that decide the battle. The words of his lordship from the Infernal Castle 2 years ago. So ridiculously cool. Okay, Edgelord. I like Ash. Given who we're talking about, I expect he'll only emerge stronger from the experience. If that's the case, this could well become the most difficult trial we've faced yet. I'm inclined to agree. It'd be prudent for us to account for every contingency. There's also the promise we made with Lloyd, Estelle, and the others. It's a good point, where are they? True that. We can't let them best us. But what exactly is Rose up to? Sorry about my grandmother. She has a way of being evasive. I definitely was a little surprised by how sudden that all was. If it involves the rivalries, though, the only thing to do is go and check it out, right? The previous evening, after Rean and the others had boarded the Courageous II and been shown around, they began discussing the next steps they should take, considering that the war would begin in less than a week. In the middle of their conversation, however, they received a call from a rather unexpected party. There they are.
For those of you who have not yet had the honor, my name is Roselia Milstein. I am the elder of Erebonia's Hexen clan. Emma and Vita are my disciples in the magical arts. It is a pleasure to finally meet you, Prince Olivert, as well as the storied children of Crossbell and Liberl.
How do you do? Until this moment, I'd only heard of you through rumor and legend. I've heard that you watched over the laying of Erebonia's foundation by Arnor I. Is that really true? Actually, that was my predecessor. It was Emperor Hector and Prince Drykos who I was best acquainted with 800 years ago. I cannot say the family resemblance is all that strong in you, but you definitely have a familiar fire in your heart. It's quite an honor to hear you say so. I've heard about Roselia from Rean. 800 years old. Even seeing it with my own eyes, I can't quite believe it. I've heard a few things about those of you back there as well. Glowing tales from Ragnar and Zeit both. What? Wait, what? Ragnar? For real? We haven't seen Zeit since... We spoke shortly before they vanished. Even I have no idea of their whereabouts now, however. That's a shame. From the sound of it, Cassius doesn't know either. Ragnar the Ancient Dragon and Zeit the Divine Wolf. Two of the beasts entrusted with overseeing the Septarians.
Indeed. Beings sent forth by Adios, much like the holy beast of Earth.
But of course.
Thomas Lysander, Second Dominion of the Gralsritter. Estelle, Lloyd, I've heard many a rumor about your respective endeavors. As for you, Your Highness, I don't think we've had the chance to talk since you were last at the main campus.
And to think that you, a history teacher, are a dominion of the Gralsritter. I must say, I was quite frustrated that I was unable to see what was really going on, despite my ties to Kevin. I see. So I guess that means you heard about us from Kevin and Reese? It sounds like you learned about us from Wazzy, right? Right. We're having all of them operate outside of Erebonia at the present. Yeah, because far be it from us to see them. They're out there resisting Ouroboros and their allies working towards the Great Twilight in secret. The 1st, 4th, 5th, and 6th Angui. It seems the enforcers who haven't come to Erebonia are also out on operations. It looks like the intelligence division's been active in other countries too. They're making some pretty serious moves. The Red Constellation's main regiment and the War God too. So Uncle Sigmund is finally on the move. Yes, Anios and Risha are responding to their actions. It's the same with Noel, Chief Sergei and Dudley, isn't it? I hope they're all okay. To be honest, things are looking fairly grim. So much so that the Papal Guard has begun to act on its own, and is cooperating with Operation Mille Mirage. I suspected as much. Now is truly not the time for them to be going off on their own like this. Even during the Night Touched affair 200 years ago, the Papal Guard managed to make a nuisance of themselves. For the time being, though, let us focus on the main issue at hand, the rivalry of the Seven. I've been closely monitoring the disturbance in the spirit veins, and there has been a surprising development. As soon as the commencement date for the Operation Jormungand and Mille Mirage was announced, activity in the spirit veins reached a fevered peak. Though the reason why is still unclear, it seems the announcement itself is connected to the spread of the disturbance. Again, fits through all my theories, doesn't it? What? What, you mean the spirit veins reacted to today's events? The boss moving out might be related too. Yes, as well as my father, the Steel Maiden, and the others. This probably involves Mother and Shannon too. And Maria Bell. She seems to be working with RF somehow. There are likely many causes, but we now have a different grave situation on our hands. Meanwhile, spirit veins across the entire continent have begun activating. It's no longer limited to the Empire. Wait, what the hell? The disturbance was initially a gradual ripple outward from the Empire, but seems to be matching the coming war in its scope. Right, that's the Great Twilight at work. They need it in full swing for the rivalries to be even possible. Imagine even now they're preparing for the ultimate reformation of the Great One. If only there was something we could do.
The solution is simple. Use this ship to whatever end you see fit. The rivalry of the Seven appears to be the true objective behind this plan of the Chancellor and the Gnomes. That much we can safely assume. And yet, it is this very same objective that may be our sole hope in preventing the disaster to come.
You for real here? It's true that ever since this curse was unleashed, it's felt as though everything's being guided by some unseen force. With that in mind, it'd be near impossible to try and prevent the war altogether.
That's probably why Dad and Chloe opted for Operation Mille Mirage instead. But while we're on it, what exactly is this curse anyway?
But didn't you see Act 2? It was fairly explained in detail. It's the curse. It affects the weather.
We know full well the sort of strife a Septarian can cause. We saw so ourselves during the incident in Liberl a few years back. There, we had to come face to face with the same issues our ancestors contended with 1,200 years ago.
It was the same for us. We fought back against a centuries-long plan to artificially recreate a Septarian. One that had been lost due to mankind's own hubris.
As far as you know.
Yeah, I almost made a really big mistake back then. But then Lloyd and the others came and made everything all right again.
In Liberl, a ring that could grant any heart's desire, and in Crossbell, a tree that could rewrite destiny itself. Each one a blessing, yet each one a curse. But in spite of that, Estelle, Lloyd, and everyone else faced them head on. They didn't lose heart even once.
Therefore, discovering the truth is your responsibility now.
In my head, I'm chuckling like, they didn't lose heart even once. But Rean did. So what does that say about us?
It's not something Estelle, or Lloyd, or even the rest of us can accomplish. Only you, Class VII of Thor's Military Academy.
The Empire's facing threats both on its surface and behind the scenes. And you're no strangers to kicking tail on either of those fronts. I can't think of a more tenacious bunch out there. The way I see it, you guys are the only ones who can do this.
It's up to us then.
Naturally, the Courageous Two has its own missions to see to. We must travel around the country helping people and gathering allies. Even so, I have no doubt that we can still serve as your wings of passage. More so with the Merkaba out of commission. After all, the difference in size should be more than enough to fit, say, 2 Divine Knights and 4 Panzer Soldats?
Wait a minute.
Olivert.
You've put so much thought into this. We appreciate it.
Then Thor's Military Academy's Class 7 would be honored to take you up on that offer, Your Highness. We'll do everything we can to assist you in your efforts as fellow members of the Radiant Wings.
All I'm thinking is, imagine if he thought ahead and actually had a room specially for Altina's soldiers.
We'll help too. It's only fair after all you've done for the branch campus students.
If you ever need someone to make that ship purr, I'm your gal.
Fabulous! Delighted to have you. You see, we've been rather lacking in the crew department.
Well, I sure as hell ain't sitting this one out. What kind of instructor would I be otherwise?
Count me in too. I mean, we're finally all back together again.
I'll help.
Like we said, we're gonna be off doing our own thing, but we'll still be helping out.
Same with us. We'll be catching a ride on the Bobcat too after we're done here.
Now that you mention it, you did both say you'd be working separately.
Yeah, the plan is to cover Eastern Erebonia, North Ambria, and Jirai.
You mentioned getting in touch with HQ in Lamont. Guess that means you guys are heading out too, huh, Shara?
We are, though we won't be leaving the ship until tomorrow.
Sarah, Fee, you guys got things covered here, yeah?
Of course. When have we ever let you down?
Call us if you need anything, okay?
I guess this is goodbye for now then, huh?
Yeah. We've got some stuff to take care of back in Crossbell.
Don't worry. We'll be seeing each other again before you know it. In the meantime, let's give this our all.
Yeah! We got this, Yuna!
Right!
Seems like we'll be able to divide things up by region then. We should be able to just leave everything with the Macabre Unit 8 up to Rean, guys. I'll be arranging for its repairs at a nearby location. I really am in your debt, Thomas. You too, Rosine. Thank you. No worries. Please look after everyone. It will not be easy, but our shared hope has come into view. The time has come for me to undergo my final undertaking. Grandmother? What do you mean final undertaking? Well, as a divine beast. Listen well, children of Class 7. As noted, the spirit veins throughout the land are activating, and they are disordered, as they've never been before. The same can be said for the shrines, the stages for the rivalries. This includes the Lunar Shrine, the only shrine we witches have overseen since ancient times. The Lunar Shrine? Isn't that close to Milsante? Yes, it is the location of the reflecting pool, and generation after generation of it, wandering witches have watched over it. This pool reflects the genuine truth. It is believed to be connected to the origin of the Black Records. Aha! But I didn't expect to hear those mentioned here. Yes, I myself was just told about it the other day. I suggest anyone interested in real truth behind the curse to come. Oh, well. As to my true name, I shall provide the answers to your doubts, rest assured. To do so, however, I will require Class 7 to undergo a trial of sorts. You'll need to come along as well, Celine. Oh, and fair warning, your human form will be required for this. Huh? Grandmother? Bye. Loads of byes. We thought the Lunar Shrine was a dead end, but there's more to it after that. This will be a trial for the entirety of Class 7. I'm reminded of our adventures in the old Schulhaus 2 years ago. Ah, you mean where everyone first met Valimar, the Ashen Knight? Yeah, and then that crazy go-nuts corridor appeared at the end. Rivery corridor. Knowing what we know now, I think that place is yet another sort of shrine. See, now Reverie to me has a different connotation, a different meaning behind it, because it's like, we know what the name of the game is, everyone. I don't know what my grandmother's intentions are, but we should prepare ourselves for anything. Crying out loud, why am I'm not even part of Class 7. Just admit it already, Celine. You're one of us, whether you like it or not. This will be the first time we've seen your human form since the Black Workshop, huh? Apart from Rean. To gaze upon both Celine's lovely figure and the reflecting pool in the same day. What fortuitous timing. Once everyone's done their little tour around the Courageous 2, we can head for Lake Gala. It would probably be wise to land out on the water. Put a little distance between ourselves and Mulsanti. But what about the monster in the lake, the cryptid? Golly. Learning to switch between the silent navigation and optical camouflage modes is going to be critical here. Well, that explains that. Understood. Things are starting to heat up. Next, our plan is to head ashore, with each group making their approach from their target locations. Fortunately, Estelle, Lloyd, and the others are already a step ahead of us gathering intel. I'm sure they'll have hit on something useful by the time you get out. We're expecting good news, guys, but seriously though, take care of yourselves out there. Right, that goes for you too. It means so much to know you've got our backs. Class 7, it's time to make sure your preparations are set. We'll need every pair of hands we can get around the ship. So those of you in a position to pitch in, please do so. Absolutely, Instructor. Makes sense, even with everyone from the branch campus here. This is a pretty huge ship. Right, it's probably best to make one more round just to be sure. We'll be definitely doing that. Act 3. Seekers of the Dawn. Again, it's so spacious. Courageous 2 is a newly constructed ship, but something about it feels nostalgic. Maybe I'll do one final swoop around the floor myself prior to departure. Alright, need to find everyone going ashore and wish them luck again. Each floor has an elevator that you can use to move to the other floors. You can select floors that you have previously visited via the quick travel menu. Cool, but I do want to speak about something that's been said. What a computer terminal, that looks so tiny compared to the rest of the ship. Just like, alright then. Lots of people to speak to. But I do want that. This would actually be a perfect chance for once again for us to go and visit Eastern Erebonia. Why? Because now it actually makes more sense to visit Eastern Erebonia. Obviously, again, we know limitations with Falcom. It's a happy disappointment and all that. We've been through that, like the idea of like, yep, very low budget, Falcom. Like they can't do that. There's only so much they can do. We understand that. But from a story perspective, it's like I expect Falcom to be really good at writing that away. That's what was disappointing in Act 2. It's like, Falcom, you're normally better at writing in excuses other than just as heightened security and stuff. Like, normally you're better. But here, right now, they're going to have to write themselves out of a hole I've thought of in my head, basically. Which is, there is shrines in Eastern Erebonia. Like, there's one near Legram. There's one, like, there. Why would we not be allowed to visit it? Like, we should be able to visit it. It would probably be a place for a rivalry. It makes sense too, based on everything that's been said so far. If they write it away, fine. But so far, it makes sense to actually go there. Like, we know there's one up near Roa as well. Where was that one, though? Trying to remember where. Was it, like, down here? I think it was. Trying to remember where exactly that one was near Rua. It was the fire one, wasn't it, near Rua? I can't remember exactly which ones are where, to be honest. It's like but yeah, there's several around in eastern Erebonia. We know that. Like, there's one up in Nord. That one. Wind. The wind one's up here somewhere around. Like, where am I looking? Oh, that's the colossal statue. It's like, yeah, somewhere around there, isn't it? Somewhere around there, like near the ancient quarry. There's the wind shrine. Again, a reason to go to Nord, because we need to go to the shrines. And you're like, but the security level and like the war's coming and all like the things around here. We know that the main idea of what's going on behind the war is for the rivalries, right? So they'd let us through if it meant that Rean was going to go and have a fight at one of the shrines. That's the little hole that Falcom have got themselves in there, and I'm hoping, I still have confidence in their writing, I'm hoping they write that away somehow, because right now it's like there's no reason the other shrines wouldn't be coming up. I don't know how they're going to get around it. Again, I have confidence that they can. There's enough shrines over here. Like, again, we know like there's one on Erebonia Island. Yeah, there's one near Milsanti, but we know about that one. So it's like there's enough around. I'm just wondering how they're gonna right away. It could just be that simple case of like we've been summoned to one, like we've been summoned to the one on Erebonia Island again and stuff like that. It could just be that. We'll see though. But that's something I just want to keep an eye on. But we'll see about that in the future. For now, we're done, and in the next part, we'll do the rounds. Ta-da for now.